So here we have Adrian's bike. This is a 2018 V4 base model bike. Adrian's raced this for, I think, since 2018, to be fair. He's had it refreshed, he loves it, can't get the handling working right. So what we're hoping to do today is we're going to take this swing arm bolt out and we're going to replace it with some V4R swing arm bolts. These are the items here. You can see that's the Eccentric. So you, obviously when you rotate that, you change the height of the swing arm position. We'll let you know how it gets along, and then hopefully Adrian will be riding the bike in a week or two, and he'll let you know how that goes. These are our parts, boxes. I will put all the information in the description of what parts we've used. So if you're looking to do this yourself, if it works for us, you can have a good look at it and see where you go. So here we have Adrian's bike. Now obviously one problem, if you're going to have to take the bolts out for the swing arm, which is going to make it difficult to support the bike, I am going to suggest you take the holder. This is called a holder. So it's 2 bolts here and a pinch bolt here. Undo these and this. This theoretically should slide off. The swing arm is still being supported by the bolt inside. Once this is off, I plan on bolting a foot peg on here. And I think we can do the same on the other side. Bit trickier because there's some ducting here, but essentially behind this ducting, there's 2 bolts which hold this holder, and you've got the pinch bolt. These will come off. You can take these side plates or holders off, and the swing arm is still mounted to the engine. Once they're off, we can bolt a foot peg in here, probably here or maybe in the back there. And then I've got some stands which I hope will support the bike at the back. I've loosened this bolt here, quite easy to do. Allen key in here, and then once it's loosened off you can get behind it. And then I'm going to now loosen these 2 off. 6mm Allen key for all of this so far. Okay. Now you've got 2 options. You can use the bolt holes from here to put a support in, but I want to get back as far as I can, so I'm going to use this exhaust bolt here. There we go. Allen key in here to loosen this pinch bolt, like this. Once you've got it sort of finger tight, if you like, take that out. And then take these 2 bolts out, and I'm going to put a foot peg into here. That's it, fairly straightforward.
Any last words?
So here you go, you can see what I've done. I've just fitted a spare foot peg into that bracket there with the exhaust attached. These stands are actually for motorhomes or camper vans. They're quite cheap on eBay, and they're just to stop the van rocking, right? And then this one again goes into where the foot peg bracket, the side holder or side plate goes in. Just bolt that in, and now that's the. Here we go. The bike. Adrian's back in the house, and we've got our YouTube voice on. We've taken out the other bolt, the other side. It's a 10mm Allen key we've got in there, isn't it?
It is.
This one is stiffer. Still going here.
I've been very naughty using a breaker bar, loosen it. And then my torque wrench rather than a breaker bar. There we go. So what we've also done is taken the dog bone off the bottom. So I wonder if that wheel's better on the deck, because this is going to fold in half, you know what I mean?
Okay, here we are. We have got the swing arm moved off. We had to take out, what's that, a midsection? Midsection of exhaust to allow us to drop this down. On the Ducati manual of how to refit the swing arm, it says bring it in for the top, but it also says remove the headers, which is obviously a bit of a pain if you've done this sort of thing. But you can see this is quite straightforward from here, isn't it? So far, so good. Famous last words. We're going to put the insert in here. There's an insert from the other side. We'll find out the torque settings from them somehow, although it wasn't massively torqued. But I think the long bolts are like 100 newtons.
Yeah.
So that's what's worked for us. This is the Akrapovic, isn't it? Full system you've got.
It is, yeah.
If you've got a different system, obviously you might need to remove the exhaust in a slightly different manner. Here's the other side. And we'll give you an update. The inserts. There's two inserts, one for either side. The shorter one goes in the left-hand side, and the longer one will go in the right-hand side. We are going to guess at the torque setting because we don't have anything for this. If anybody does find it out, well, I don't think we're going to take the swing arm out to torque it again afterwards. But if anyone does know the torque setting, put it in the comments below. So this is the other insert going in, and we're doing this to 100 Newton meters. That is set to 100. The reason we're doing 100 Newton meters is because the big bolts that go in are 100 Newton meters. So just a quick note, when you do the swing arm, on the right hand side, you've got two bearings. If you push the bearing out on the inside of the swing arm and leave the one on the outside still in the swing arm, you can then put the eccentric bolt together on that side, but then getting the bearing in afterwards is really hard because it's on the inside of the swing arm. So what I'd recommend, once you've got the swing arm loose and dropped, go around the left hand side of the bike with your drift, push the bearing on the outside of the right hand side of the swing arm out. You need to remove that one of the bearings to put it all together. So the one on the outside, I'd recommend that's the easier one to. It's probably a little bit harder to knock it out, but it's far, far easier to put it back on from the outside of the bike. So that's my little top tip. And also, when you're putting there's basically, in the eccentric bolt on the inside, you'll see it when you buy the parts, you've got a spacer essentially. It's got two locating pins. And I would put those pins into that spacer because they're a friction fit. And once you've got that in the swing arm, it's just a little bit trickier to get them because there's pins, right? So they're awkward. That's what I'm trying to get to. So if I was doing it again, I'd knock the outside bearing off and leave the inside bearing in, and I'd fit the locating pins. Otherwise, this won't quite well. So that's it there. We've got the right-hand side eccentric in. There's some locating pins that go into the central spacer. I can't get the camera to focus. I would fit them potentially before fitting it all into the bike, into the swing arm. That's been the trickiest bit so far, but with Adrian, with my help, has smashed it. And now he's fingering it delightfully. Straight in the middle. There he goes. That's it. That's here we are. This is the adjustable swing arm pivot installed. Important thing to note, and Adrian and I were just commenting about how good it was for us to talk about this together because we view things slightly differently, but we worked out you don't need to change the side plates, this plate here. So that's the standard 2018 side plate. If you put the 22 side plate on it, or the V4R one, that will not line up with the engine crankcase, so the bolt won't go through. You have to stick with the side plates have to match the engine year. So you can see that's in there now, and the one on the other side's the same. Before we did this, we took a measurement from the top of the swing arm there to here. So we just used that as our marker, that line there. So we have gained, as you'd expect, 3 millimeters. So that's fucking happy days. Between this bike and the 22 bike is a 4 millimeter change. The V4R, you can't do the 4 millimeter change. You can only do a -1. So this is now equivalent to -1 on the V4R. So Adrian is going to have a spin on that later. And are you happy, Adrian?
Very happy.
As long, well, hopefully it will be handle how we.
If it handles anything like your V4R, I'll be a happy bunny.
Yeah. Did you try? You tried my 22 bike, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
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 So if it handles
Short and cheese.
Yeah. So fingers crossed, right? And what have you spent on this? About 450 quid on parts?
Yeah, and actually we figured out we over-ordered
Just the
some of the bearings and stuff that we...
You'd probably order one bearing, wouldn't you? Because you're knocking out
yeah,
the bearings, you'd replace
the one
that.
you knock out, you should replace.
Yeah, and some dust seals. We didn't do anything on the other side, so I'll put that in the description. Leave any comments below about anything you may want to know. And then Adrian's just going to work on his ride height on the bike, and we'll compare notes on that. Pretty sweet.
Cool.
Fist bump.
Cheers, buddy.